real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Doretha Fulton says after she got married to the defendant, he cheated on her several times, and he even moved another woman into their home. Doretha is suing her ex today for an illegal eviction and emotional distress. Defendant Brian Fulton insists he and Doretha were in an open relationship, and they often participated in threesomes together. Brian's countersuing his ex for stolen property.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Well, I met my ex-husband 26 years ago, and we was kicking it, just having fun. And my sons, I have 3 sons, they're not his. They actually thought that he was their father.
That's not their father?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
But he was in my life that long, to the point where my sons thought that he was their father.
Okay, but they knew he wasn't.
Yes, after I sat him down and explained it to him.
Got it. All right.
Yes. So as fast forward in 2013, he asked me to marry him a couple of times, and I asked him, I said, well, if you're serious about marrying me, well...
Were you single up at that time?
Yes.
So you all had dated how long?
So when we first started, it was like 4 or 5 years, and then we got separated, or we departed.
How long did you date before you married?
We've been knowing not that long.
Okay,
not that long at all.
Just say you don't know.
Not that.
All right, just say you don't know.
No, I don't know.
You can't keep dates about
Yes.
you and your husband's 26-year relationship.
Yes,
I
sir.
understand. All right. Do you know how many years you all dated before you got married, like most people do?
We was off and on. She was more like a...
Yeah, you don't know either.
No,
all right. Let's go ahead. Well, how was the relationship?
In the beginning, it was fine, you know.
Off and on mean you add it all together.
Yeah.
All
well,
right.
You know.
Go ahead.
But it was nice in the beginning, you know. He was a stand-up guy, and I figured that, he taught me and my sons. He helped us out, so I felt that, when he asked me to marry him, that I was all in.
All right.
So I asked him, I said, well, you want some time?
Do you know the date of that?
That was in...
The year?
Yes, that was
got
2013.
Huh?
The year that he asked me was
Okay,
2013.
What
We got
year did
married
you
in
actually get married? You having a tough time with
2014.
this marriage thing. Pardon?
2014.
All right. 14, you were married. Okay.
Yep.
And since 14, how did that go?
Well, in the beginning, it was fine until he decided he wanted to venture out and see other avenues as far
What
as...
year did that be?
2015, 2016.
Okay. How did you find out?
You know how
caught
women
him?
have intuition.
And how did your intuition become a fact?
Yes, I didn't catch him actually having marital affairs until 2017, 18. But 2019, it was more of upfront in my face.
And he admitted that in 15 he was doing it?
He didn't admit to anything.
Oh, okay.
He never admitted to anything.
All right.
Until he only admitted to it when he finally actually moved a female that has kids by him into the house.
You said, didn't we do? Let me tell you how you just did me. He never admitted anything. He never admitted anything. He never admitted anything. The only time he admitted something.
2019.
Well, then that's not never, man.
At that time, you're right. You're right.
Yes, he did admit.
That's true.
All right. So, in 15, nothing really happened because it was an intuition.
Yes, sir.
So what year did you have facts?
2019.
2019. And how did you find that out?
He moved a female into the house.
Okay. And how did that, what did you say when you saw her clothes coming in?
Actually, she was just there herself. She didn't, I came home from work and she was still in my house.
She didn't wear clothes? She wore your
she
clothes?
She had on clothes, but I didn't see any baggages coming in the house.
You say she moved in with you, ma'am, just because you weren't there when she walked in the door?
That's correct, sir. I was at work.
But how long after she walked in the door with her clothes did you see her and know that she had brought her clothes into your house with you and your husband?
2019. You want a date? I can't give you a specific date.
All right. Was it at night?
It was in the middle of the day, afternoon.
There you go.
It was an afternoon after I got off work around 4 or 5 o'clock.
That's when you determined
Yes, sir.
That's what I just asked you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So we know now that you found out the same day.
Yes, sir.
So did you say something to him or her the first day
Yes, sir.
that she moved her things in?
Yes, sir.
And what did you say to him?
I asked him what's going on. He said she's only here temporary until she find a place to stay.
Did you ask who she was?
Yes, sir.
And what did he tell you?
He told me her name.
Told you her name. Did
Yes,
he
sir.
tell you any relationships with her?
Just nope. He didn't tell me
He
anything.
didn't,
like that,
and
no,
you
sir.
didn't mind? You didn't bother to further
Yes, sir.
inquire?
Because I started asking her questions. I started talking to her. I wanted to know like what is going on, what's happening. This
Why are
and
you
third.
here? Why have you moved in my
To my-
house?
right.
Where do
She
you know
moved-
my husband from?
Yes, all that.
And what did she tell you?
They actually been messing around prior to her coming into the house.
And so then you said, oh, okay, as long as I know that, you can go ahead and stay.
You know.
What happened?
So I literally asked her to move out. I said, you have to go. You have to
That
leave.
first day?
No, actually the week later.
What were you thinking for that week?
How the heck am I gonna get out?
Okay. So you were gonna let a woman run you out your own house? That's what
No, I was just gonna go ahead and just let it alone because if he been messing around with this female and I just now found about it when he moved into the house, so I'm like,
Why didn't you ask him to and the woman to leave?
I did. He didn't go nowhere. He wasn't gonna go nowhere.
And she wouldn't go anywhere?
Cause like he said, this is my house. I run the rules, and
Okay,
can't
that's what he
nobody tell me what to do in my house.
You were his wife?
Pretty much. Yes, sir. I was his wife. Sorry. Yes, sir. I was his
Hear
wife.
from you, sir. Hotel, give me some background on this.
Well, my first mistake was marrying my side chick. We was together back in the 90s, but like I said, she was my side chick. I got incarcerated, and then when I got out, that's when we rekindled and get back together. I figured she was going to school, she wanted something, was headed in the right direction.
What year was that? Did you
2013.
come home
2013. That's
and
when I came home.
began an earnest attempt to have a relationship.
Right.
And
But
what happened?
we always had an open relationship. You know what I'm saying? It was always understood as long as you can do whatever you do, as long as you come home every night and you don't bring no mess home with you.
But you brought mess home.
Yeah.
No, no. Her story is
Said you
incorrect.
oh, okay. She knew that you were moving a woman in?
I called her at work and asked her if it was all right, and she said okay.
No.
Is that true?
No.
Okay, and when you say open relationship, does that mean you could date who you want? That's the extent of it?
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Go have sex with somebody and come home.
Okay, because some people open relationship also carries over to threesomes. And
Right. We had threesomes also. We went to.
okay, well, that's why I was asking you.
Yeah.
I gotta pull this. I gotta pull everything out of
Yeah,
y'all.
like I said, we done
Don't
had
come in here
threesomes.
scared to admit what you've done.
I'm not.
Be who you've been.
Oh, no, I
What do you
just ain't
mean,
got a
I'm
chance
not. You act like you had no idea why you had a woman move in with you. Now I'm finding out you had an open relationship. Is
No,
that
we did
true
not.
or
No, that's not true.
Be quiet and answer my question. Is it true
No.
that you all had an open relationship?
No, sir.
Okay, so do you have any evidence of this big determining factor?
Of it being an open relationship.
Yes, text, anything where you said, okay, you know we can see each other, you know we can see who we want. Any type of evidence, because she denies it wholeheartedly.
If you look at page 2 of the evidence, she stole my phone that had that. So
She what?
stole a phone from me that had the evidence that you're talking about.
This is a picture of a phone at a store.
I had an S9 that she stole from me once she moved out. She came back to my house.
Okay, and that's your counterclaim, obviously?
Yes.
Okay, and so your counterclaim is for the phone that has all the evidence on there indicating that you all had an open relationship.
Oh, it's more than that, you know. I can sit here and talk to you.
Yeah, you have to convince me of this.
I mean, it was-
You can't just say this stuff
Okay.
against your wife and she denies it and I'm just gonna let it go. Tell me about the first time you all determined you had an open relationship. What year was that and how did that discussion go? When was that?
Maybe 97, we had a threesome with one of her friends.
Did that happen?
Yes, sir. We weren't married then either.
I didn't ask you earlier whether you were married. I asked if you had an open relationship. I didn't say while you were married. Now, go right ahead, sir. Give me some more evidence.
In
She
2019,
admits now that you had an open relationship as of '97.
Right.
All right, got that. And somehow, when did you change?
We got married, Your Honor.
And that's when you changed?
No, we already be changing before that. We got married. When he asked me to marry
Since
me.
marriage, you've never acknowledged or allowed him to date other women?
No, sir.
To your knowledge?
It ain't to my knowledge, no, sir, because when he asked me to marry him, I asked him, I said, well, if you marry me, I'm not getting a divorce.
Since 2014, have you done it?
We've had a couple threesomes since then. In 2019, she brought one of her friends home for a threesome.
In 2019?
2019.
That didn't happen?
No, sir, that did not happen. That's the 26-year-old female that he has kids by now. He had, like I said, brought her home.
No, we're not talking about
I know that. I'm about to give you.
I don't want to hear that.
Oh, okay. But the defendant,
I'm
he's
asking
talking
you,
about.
I don't want to hear what you're saying. I want you to answer my question.
Yes, sir.
And that is, did it happen in 2019
No,
that
sir.
you brought a woman home?
No, sir.
All right, so describe the circumstances. She denies that thoroughly again. She says you all haven't done anything like that since marriage. You say you have done it a few times, so much so that she brought the woman in 2019. Give me the circumstances surrounding that to convince me that that was true.
So in 2019, her friend, I guess her baby daddy or husband had passed away. And she felt sorry, so she said that she can come over, we can have threesomes with her.
To make her feel better.
To make her feel better.
Pity sex.
Yeah. You know, I wasn't gonna complain. 'Cause at the same time, that was the same time that she was talking about I moved my young girl in at the same time. So, you know, I was living the life. We was all there.
Did you have a friend whose husband died in 2019?
No, sir. I know a person, her baby daddy died in 2019. She was not my friend.
Okay.
And we did not have a threesome with that female that he is referring to.
I heard you say that before.
Because that's the truth. We did not have
I
no.
heard you say that before. Why are you shaking your head, rolling your
Because
eyes and
I'm
all
not
that? I have a very much a right. I won't go into it then. How about that? He's already convinced me that it happened. And since when I go back to you, you have an attitude. Now suddenly I know a person who did it, but she wasn't my friend. Got it. Prove the money to me.
Okay, so
How does
when
he owe you $2,500?
When he threw me out the house.
When?
He threw me out the house in 2019 of July.
When did you all get divorced?
March the 30th of this year. 2019, he threw me out the house. He told me to basically get out the house. I had nowhere to go. He literally put me in the car, which he had purchased for me, dropped me.
Why did he tell you he wanted you to leave?
Because of his young female that he had in the house along with the other female. So.
Along with the other female?
Yes, sir.
So he moved two in?
Yes. Well, I know about the one. I don't know about the other. I just knew about the one.
What
the
do you
next
mean?
door neighbor.
You just said the other female.
I'm sorry, sir. I had the question messed up. I'm going to say this. He moved the one female in, okay? And he moved the other female in, as far as I know, because he dropped me off in the car that he purchased for me.
Two.
He purchased for me, dropped me off over a friend's house.
You just said again that it was two.
Yes,
the
sir.
second one, he moved her in as far as I know.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to even give you a chance to keep saying this. Sir, what do you have to say? A counterclaim for stolen property. When was this property stolen?
After she moved out.
When?
July of 2000. No, 2019, July 2019.
All right, you just got divorced March 21st. Every single thing you're mentioning now happened while you were married. You should have mentioned it to that judge. That judge would have told you how to handle it. If you have not, you can go back and amend your divorce petition and ask them to include the things that you forgot to include last time. The illegal eviction, the money owed. How you gonna owe each other money? It's both your money. Put your hand down. I don't need to hear no more of your confusion. Don't y'all freak off with all these other women and you won't be divorced. Have a good day.
You wrong as you know you wrong as you lied like
Lying.
you lying like Brian. You ain't sit up there and drop me off over some house
All
with
I'm
nothing.
saying is, y'all got some kind of mental
Without
health
nothing.
counselor around here because she need help.
You ain't throw me out the house. You ain't changed the locks on the door.
Hold on.
You ain't do none of that. You trying
You
to tell
just
yes
said-
or no? It's a simple yes or no. You ain't
I'm
do
trying
none
to
of
say
that.
something. You just said I dropped you off with the car I bought you, so I bought you a car and dropped you
No,
off.
I did not say
that.
that.
Don't
You
even make
lying
sense.
now.
You
I
just
ain't
said
say that. I know
that.
I did not. I said you didn't just drop me off with nothing. You ain't
You had-
drop me off over
how
here
can
with
I
nothing.
drop
You
you
ain't
off if
changed
you
the
had
locks
your
on
own
the door
car?
so I couldn't get into my things
How
out the
can I
house.
drop you off if
Is
you
it a
got your
simple
own
yes
car?
or no?
No.
You lying.
Plaintiff Steve Crower says John Denver inspired him to pursue his love of music, and he ended up in a band with the defendant. However, Steve claims he was eventually fired from the band, and he's suing today for unpaid expenses. Defendant Steve Binder says the plaintiff was extremely generous, but things went south after he tried to steal the band's copywritten material. Steve denies owing the plaintiff for anything.
Start with you.
So my musical journey started back I was in high school in bands, but I was a fly fishing guide for John Denver in Alaska and for 3 days. And we kind of talked about playing guitar and just kind of went back and forth over the 3 days. And so he basically said at the end of it, he goes, you should really pursue a career in music. And I was like, no, I'm already in college. I'm already got my path. And so that was kind of an interesting start. So 25 years later, I had a career in the oil and gas space, the energy career, lived all over the world, Norway, Canada, Mexico, New Orleans, New York, Houston. But I always carried my guitar, I always played, kind of enjoyed it.
Did you stay in touch with John Denver at all?
His girlfriend at the time became his ex-wife. And I've kind of communicated with her a little bit, but and some of the people in his group I've communicated with, yeah.
And you were an engineer who went into oil and gas. Is that what you went to?
Yeah, and then I went to Michigan,
that?
and I got an engineering degree, and I got hired.
University of Michigan?
Yeah.
What years? Oh, you probably
1986.
86?
1991.
Okay, I was up the street from you until 85 at Eastern Michigan University.
Okay.
So as you see, I got a better deal at Eastern than you and my son, who went to University of Michigan.
Oh.
All right, and how did you meet your friend after you began playing the guitar everywhere?
In 2014, I took my daughter, who was 2 at the time, to the School of Rock to sign her up to a little rock, maybe learn some basic beats and basic rhythms. And I was talking to the owner of the studio, and he goes, well, we got an adult band. Why don't you want to be in an adult band? I was like, you don't want me in any band. I'm not very good. My timing's off. I just kind of play around the house kind of stuff. He's like, no, that's the purpose. So I went to the School of Rock for 2 years, learned 48 songs, Def Leppard, Clapton, Hendrix, all the masters, and did 4 shows.
You learned their songs. They didn't mentor you. Jimi Hendrix has been dead for many years. Don't start lying.
No, they didn't mentor me, but when you have to learn a Hendrix song, you feel like the guys in the room.
Hey, all right. He didn't directly
When you learn a Clapton
mentor you.
song, you better get your Clapton song.
I was with one of his mentees. I'm sure you all know him. Sunday night, Ernie Isley of the Isley Brothers.
Yeah.
And he is second only to him. You got a couple others there. Santana's there with the guitar for me.
They're all great.
Yeah, but certainly Ernie was mentored. He say
Jimmy's first band.
toured, with his first band for 2 years. Yeah. Look at him. Know something about music. All right. Okay, it's very impressive
So I
that you were able to
graduated from the
conquer
School of Rock.
that.
Basically, they said, go. My mentor said, go play the blues. You don't need to be here anymore. You don't need this pay for band. So I went to played 150 shows in the open mic nights and the blues bars in 2 years. And so 7:30 at night, my wife and kid are on the couch, and I'm heading out to the bars with my amp and guitar to play the blues. And so I played 150 shows. And so at the end of that little period, I posted a song. I played Barbara Riley at a bar, and I posted it on Facebook, and Mr. Bender saw it, and we had a conference call on a Friday. I auditioned on a Sunday, and we had our first show on a Tuesday. I learned 7 songs in 2 days, and we came in second in the Battle of the Bands thing. We won 4 hours of recording studio time.
All right, none of that would have happened unless and without you coming on board.
Well, they were pretty good.
See, he changed
but
your
you know,
life. He
there was
changed
another
your life.
chemistry,
Now,
another
what you here
dynamic.
for? Why don't you pay this man? He changed your life. You wasn't winning nothing before he came. Go ahead, let me hear from you.
So
let me let him give some background now, and then I'll get back to you
absolutely.
at this point we're at now. Go ahead, sir. Give me some background on your association and maybe background on your life experience as it relates to this or anything else you want to tell me.
Sure. Well, thank you, Your Honor. Well, my background is quite different. I started in school. I played drums when I was about 7 years old and went into marching band in high school. And I did Drum Corps International and did the whole big marching band thing. But then instead of going to college, I decided to join the military. So I went into the submarine service for about 10 years. And it was during that time I just kind of quit playing music. I just kind of forgot that whole idea and just went on with my military career. And when I got out of the military and came back here to Denver, then I taught myself piano, started playing with a couple of local blues bands out here in Colorado. And then I got picked up onto a band that does a lot of cover songs. And so we did that for a while. We were playing 4-hour shows, 5-hour shows. So it really got my teeth into the whole industry and playing live in front of people. And it was about 2014 that my best friend, Tracy Brinkley, and I decided to form our own band, which our band now is called Met by Fate. And that's the band that we brought Mr. Crower into to help us out with.
Okay, and how did it go with when Mr. Kroger came aboard?
It was great. You know, to be honest with you, we were doing good. We'd actually already won some free studio time in this Battle of the Bands. We brought Crower in. Our lead guitar player at the time had to move to Florida. So we were without our lead guitar player right in the middle of a competition. So we held some auditions. We actually hired a lead player named Sean, and then we brought Mr. Crower in to be as a sixth member, 3 full guitars to kind of do some things that most bands can't do. And just like he said, the show was actually the next night after the audition. He came out. We really had a great show, finished second, and got some free recording time, and everything was great.
You all both live and entertain in Denver?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Is that where you at? I love that. One of my favorite cities. Lived there for a while. All right, so catching back up with you, Mr. Crower.
We started rehearsing about once a week, and so I was interested in getting into the music business. I was already in the oil and gas business, and that was going really well. And I was like, why not get in the music business? So I went to LegalZoom and downloaded it's called a band partnership exhibit, which is exhibit page 8 in your package. My attorney went over it. I had other industry people look at it, and they said, this is a really fair deal, $10,000 for recording shows, gear, travel, and payback of capital, and the band participates on a pro rata basis. So I figured since Bender and Brinkley were the founders of the band, I gave them 46% of the profit after payout, 23 and 23 each. I took 16%. I paid for 3 shows at $250 a show, $750, $800 for the other guitar. You mentioned Sean. I gave Sean $800 for car parts so we could go to work and come to practice. And I gave the bass player $100 for a speaker so his speaker would work. And then after several meetings, and in about October 2019, they gave me a little background of what B&B Music was owned 50-50 by Bender and Brinkley. But B&B Music was never even set up, I found out at that point. So they wanted 100% ownership and control over the capital. I was like, there's no way. His partner, Brinkley, is in bankruptcy right now.
What did you all agree on? It's not this 20-pager you gave me?
No.
That wasn't the agreement?
They couldn't get into the document. I was trying to get him to give some comments back. And then Bender's outbursts and Brinkley's political views, they were non-representative of what I wanted to be.
They ran you off because of their political views?
Yeah.
Were they at the Capitol or something?
Go to page 23, please.
Oh, this doesn't sound good the way he's saying it, sir. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, I am white. This is from Tracy Brinkley.
Yeah.
I am white. I'm not going to try to be less white. If you have a problem with my whiteness, you are a racist. You are the problem. All you white business owners who voted for Joe, to the back of the line, bees. That's crazy again. I knew they had that Capitol picture in there. They got the Capitol picture. They got the Capitol picture with the guns drawn and everything. When God needed to be reminded which children, oh my God, this is horrible. No, this isn't funny. This is horrible, horrible, horrible. It has blood dripping down from a curtain in what appears to be a window at a concentration camp, and it says Passover, when God needed to be reminded which children not to kill. I want people to know about anti-Semitism, about racism. So I hope everybody's listening and not thinking all this stuff is made up and she thinks the Capitol was staged. I'm going to keep going. We can't blame every Islamic person for what happened on 9/11. Yep, can't keep blaming slavery and racism on every white person either. No, just your ancestors. That's me talking. Science has come a long way. When you can take an Indian and Jamaican and get an African American, science. To the white people apologizing for the past, speak for yourself. Got that point. Now, he's saying that to inflame me, clearly, which is not. I know it exists out there. I'm not inflamed. I'm inspired to fight more against racism. The more I see it, the more I want to fight back against it. So that's why I say, bring it on, bring it on. I want to see it. You don't even have to respond to that. I didn't see your name on it. But if you want to deny any political affiliations with that, we can do that and move right along to this case, back to the money.
I would just like to say that a big rule of our band is we do not bring politics into the band. Now, unfortunately, my views don't align with my partners, and that might be why we write music so well together. But you can trust me that my views are on the opposite end of his.
Okay, good enough.
Hey, just to be clear, the anti-Semitic one was Bender's post.
Whew, that was the word.
Yeah.
Sir. Let's leave it alone. Yeah. All right. And you want a refund for what expenses based on what agreement?
I put $4,100. Well, before we went in the studio, it was agreed that we were going to donate the CCM studio time, along with capital from my account, to do the studio recording. It was $4,170. Then there's these other expenses, $1,600 for the summer when I was paying for the other stuff. But I was trying to help these guys out. They needed to record these songs. Otherwise, you're just going to be playing in somebody's basement for years.
Was there a time frame? We will pay you back after we get on our feet. We will pay you back when we get our stimulus check. That's everybody's doing that now. But what did you hear? What did they tell you?
I got one more.
Go ahead.
Royalties off making music.
You're right.
That's good. I got
that's
one more.
The worst.
Called the music business.
That is horrible. To pay you back on royalties for a song that hadn't been published yet. Or if it is published, unless it's a hit and it's being played, sold, you get no money from it. So what was said though after you spent this money or during the process? You can't sue and win unless you had an agreement that was breached.
It was all verbal. It was.
Okay, you say it was an agreement, but it was verbal. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, well, he's correct when he says that it's verbal. However, how this whole thing started because we won the free hours for the contest that we were in, we went in and we realized that the few hours that we had would only get you maybe one or two songs if you were lucky. It wouldn't even be fully mastered. The thing about Mr. Crower is that he had no problem letting us know how comfortable he was financially. He's taking his family to Hawaii. He's going to Tennessee and Texas. He was in a really good position financially.
What does this man, how y'all counting this man's money and determining whether y'all gonna pay him back based on what he makes?
Pretty much.
Well, it was
How you
his
gonna
offer
count this
for
man's
it.
money and determine whether you're gonna pay him? Go ahead. He was doing what? He was living a good life, and then what?
So the original agreement that we had was that he would help finish these recordings. We had no idea how much money was going to be involved. If he just said, let me pay for these studios, let's get a good album out. He even said that the only way he wanted to get repaid at that time was through downloads. He said that if the band wouldn't be responsible, if he never got paid back, he was okay with that. He felt that we were good enough to become profitable, that he was going to get his return of investment. He started actually bringing in his own musicians. He started to take over as if it was his band. And then actually what really kind of put the nail in the coffin is while all of this was going on, and we had talked with him many, many times about, if you're going to set a session, just talk to Tracy and I, we're cool with that. He told us he was trying to sell our music to other companies, and we said, please just talk to us before you do that. This is all copyrighted material. But he continued to do that without our knowledge. He came back from Nashville and then told us after his trip from Nashville that he spoke to a studio in Nashville about recording there, that now all of a sudden he wants us to pay for. He was a good friend for everybody. He did a lot of stuff besides everything that we see in the lawsuit. I mean, he took us out to dinner. He took some of my bandmates out to a concert. I mean, he's a very, very generous person. You know, I will give him a lot of credit with that. It's just that once I found out that he actually tried to steal my copywritten songs from my band and try to publish them under his own, that's when everything went sour.
More of Judge Mathis in a moment. Plaintiff Steve Crower was in a band with the defendant, who claims things went south after Steve stole the band's copywritten material.
A few things I heard, I interpret after hearing what you said, and that is that he was a very aggressive business partner, which that's what you want. You said, he's right. We had a verbal agreement. Then you said, he said the band will not be responsible.
That's correct. That's correct, Your Honor.
For the monies that he put in to a business that you all mutually own. That doesn't sound reasonable. He's a very smart man. That doesn't sound reasonable. Go ahead.
He had Your Honor, he had no ownership in this band. He was just the sixth member. There's only 2 owners of this band, and then 4 other members.
That's even more reason to get his money back. He had no ownership interest.
Right. Well, he did say that if he didn't get paid back, he was willing to lose that money, but he was comfortable enough knowing that we would become profitable.
Stop counting that man's
money. He wasn't worried about that. But that's why he continued to, even after we told him to no longer schedule any more sessions at the studio until this was resolved, he continued to do that. And I found out later that he continued to not only schedule sessions for himself, but he brought his own musicians in, and that's when he started to re-record our songs for us.
You didn't have a written agreement, so I have to decipher through what I'm hearing. He said you told them that the band would never be responsible. That's the key thing that he has said that will really make or break this case. Anyone have any evidence that says that?
No, Your Honor, that was strictly just a verbal discussion.
So what do you have, sir?
You go to page in your packet 26.
What are you trying to prove on 26? What is it to prove to me?
So they basically said in this, when they fired me from the band, that I was an employee of the band.
Okay.
And I was like, I would have never, Judge, I would have never.
You are strictly an employee of the band.
Yes. And look at the date on this thing. This was dated in May.
Well, that's what they're saying, and you might want to remain an employee if you want your money back today.
No, that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make, if they would have said this up front, you are an employee of the band up front in the first month, I wouldn't have continued a single day. I was a person that financed and played with the band.
Thinking that you were part owner.
A part of the band.
But when you got this, what did you say in response? This is your duty to clarify.
I'll see you in court.
Okay, got it.
Judge Mathis rules on this dispute shortly. Do you think a paternity test can help you collect child support? If you believe your child's owed money, call 1-888-VERDICT or visit us online at www.judgemathisTV.com. Plaintiff Steve Crower was in a band with the defendant, who claims things went south after Steve stole the band's copywritten material.
All right, and on the monies. Well, there's a concept in the law that is called unjust enrichment or detrimental reliance, meaning if there was no meetings of the mind, that's what happened here. You all never had the same understanding of your agreement, never. And so with that in mind, you look to see who's been enriched by that misunderstanding. Then you look at detrimental reliance. That means when someone relies on you all's discussions, whether you all disagreed on the discussions or not, he relied on those discussions to your benefit and to his detriment. You all did attempt to negotiate a contract, which led him to believe that you all were seeking to engage in business together, and he did in reliance on something y'all said that enriched you guys. So he has to be put back into the situation or the status, if you will, that he was before this misunderstanding. And so I'm going to grant him his $5,000 based on those theories in the law. And so have a good day, sir, and be careful about this entertainment business. Don't sign or do anything and partner with people who don't have as much as you, because they're going to count your money and then try to beat you out of it. That's
good advice.
The nature
Thank
of
you.
the entertainment game if they don't have as much as you.
Hey, Judge, do you want to be in a band with me?
Oh, hell no. You just stop. Excuse me. Good judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Hey, Bender, I know you can be violent. I am not going to take a restraining order. I'm just asking you don't come within 100 feet of my family.
Okay, for one, I've never been violent in my life, and so I don't know where you think that, but you know, I appreciate all the stuff you did with us, and we had a good time. I wish things could have turned out different, but good luck on your music journey, and I wish you the best, my friend.